What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. Now this video is going to be on two different channels. It's going to be on my main channel and my language learning channel because it's language related, but I like this enough that I want to upload it on my regular channel as well. So if you're finding this on just Jonathan Seabolt, but you want more language related stuff, link is in the description. You can go check out Langcast, language learning podcast, or language podcast. Go check that out. That is where I'm at. Link is in the description. Or you can also, if you're finding this on Langcast, you can simply go to my main channel, which is Jonathan Seabolt, and you'll be able to find that. But I like this a lot, and so I wanted to put it on both channels. What today's video is the Guilty Language Learning tag. This was done by Ophelia Vert, which is a polyglot on YouTube, and I really like this. And like I said, it's language based. So let's get into the questions. Number one, which language do you never make time for? This isn't as tough a question for me as it is for a lot of polyglots. I'm right now would consider myself bilingual with speaking Esperanto and English, and I'm coming up on being pretty solid in Spanish. I'm not great, but I can definitely form some sentences and say things. Sometimes throughout the day I'll find myself thinking in Spanish or trying to say whatever I'm saying in Spanish at the current time. I can't make super complex sentences such as the one that I'm speaking right now, but I can definitely say a few things as noted on my language channel, the video that I made just a couple of days ago where I just spoke a little bit. So, as far as which language I do not make or never make enough time for, never make time for anymore, that is Esperanto. And it's because I have a base in Esperanto and I'm pretty solid in it, so I don't necessarily make as much time because I'm already established in it, and I will basically just kind of touch on things just to not fully forget them, and I'll read on message boards and stuff like that. I'm in several Esperanto groups that I'll just, talk and converse with, but I don't actually study. I spend all my time studying on Spanish. Number two, which language do you think you'll never learn? This is a tough question. There's a lot of languages that I really want to learn. Spanish is the one I'm working on now. I really want to learn Russian. I'm really into Slavic languages, so I want to learn like Russian, Turkish, Polish, there's several different languages I want to learn from the Slavic languages family. I want to learn German, I want to learn French, I want to learn Mandarin Chinese, and Cantonese would be cool too, but Mandarin would be my main focus there. Vietnamese I have a high passion for. I want to learn Korean and Japanese, so there's a bunch of stuff that I want to learn. And of all the stuff that I want to learn, I'm going to make this about what I want to learn, not like, because like, technically I could be like Navajo Indian, and because I'm never going to learn that because there's just so many other things that I want to learn. That's not saying I don't want to study at some point some native languages, but that would be an easy answer. But as far as languages that I want to learn that I think I will never learn, I'm going to have to unfortunately say Japanese, because speaking Spanish to me is hard enough, and I know it's because I'm not overly seasoned in it just yet, but they even have, for the most part, the same word order. Like, it's a little bit different. Like, I wouldn't say the big store, I would say La Tienda Grande, or Grande, right? Like, because it's the store bit you put it. But like, that's still pretty English related versus how Japanese is subject, object, verb, and I don't know, man. And then I watched a video from Lang Focus the other day that was talking about how there's only two tenses in Japanese, which is like past and then not past. So I think that could be a little difficult as well. I know that if I spent a lot of time on it, I probably could, but I feel like of the languages I want to learn, I feel like that's the one that I will probably never be able to learn. Number three, what's your most expensive / least valuable language-related purchase? Now, I take this as a separate question, or as two separate questions. I don't take it as what is the most expensive thing that's been a bust. But the most expensive thing that I've ever spent on language learning is obviously Rosetta Stone, because it is very expensive. However, I will say it does work very well. I used Rosetta Stone for Japanese, and I still to this day remember a little bit, not a lot, but I can say very few things in Japanese because of Rosetta Stone, because it ingrained it into my skull. Stuff such as Noro ga suitemasu ka, or like or I'm sorry, it's Noro ga kuitemasu, and then it's Onaka ga suitemasu, which is like, are you hungry, are you thirsty, stuff like that. Kore wa nan desu ka? So there's a couple of things that I know, and it's because of Rosetta Stone, but that is definitely the most expensive. The least valuable language-related purchase that I have ever made is a software called Mondly. It's set up very weird. There's no explanation to anything at all, and not even like in a Duolingo, or not even in like a Rosetta Stone manner where you're learning and you kind of just put things together. Like literally, there's no pictures or anything. It just sets up, boom, here's some words, no explanation, and I don't know. I didn't really care much for the program, so I'm going to say Mondly is the least valuable language-related thing. And that's kind of a weird thing because there's not been a whole lot of purchases that I've made that I've been unhappy with. Like I have some books for Spanish. I'm currently using Babbel, which is like $20 every 3 months. And I get use out of all those. I just felt Mondly wasn't very good. So, I don't know. Yeah, Mondly, not so much. What is a lie you tell non-language learners to try and get them to learn languages? This is tough to me because I don't talk to a lot of people about language learning because most of my friends are not into it at all. The only person I know, my friend, as far as my friends go, that is really in, like I know friends that speak multiple languages, but as far as friends who actually love the idea of learning languages, it's my buddy Evan who teaches English in Japan. And he speaks Portuguese, Spanish, Japanese, Korean, probably some other stuff, but he's obviously English. And so he's the only person I really talk to it about, because a lot of times when I speak to people, you can just kind of, this is not meant as a negative thing at all, but you can just kind of tell people don't care. So they just don't, I don't know, I don't really talk a lot. It's not really a lie, but sometimes I'll be like, study Esperanto because it's super easy. And I guess technically that's a lie, because at the end of the day, you're still having to learn a language, which is still hard. But yeah, I guess that's probably where I would go with that. That's probably not a question that really, I don't know. I get excited about languages, but I also just don't talk to a lot of people about it because I'm in an area where people just don't care. That's all I'll say, man. People in this area have no interest at all. So that's kind of a bad question for me. And number 5, what is your language learning guilty pleasure? Man, I don't really know. After I study, and I don't know if you'd consider this a guilty pleasure or not, but I do love, for example, I watched Sicario, which is a movie, watched it a couple of weeks ago. And I had started studying Spanish again and stuff like that. And there's a lot of Spanish that's spoken in this movie. It's an English movie, or it's a U.S. movie, but it's in English. But there's character that speaks Spanish because it's about like Mexican drug lords and stuff like that, kind of. So I don't know if you'd consider it a guilty pleasure, but it was really amazing to me that as I was watching this movie, I would pick up on a couple of things that they were saying before reading subtitles or anything like that. And I would say that would be a guilty pleasure, just watching movies in a foreign language, especially a language that I've studied. Granted, that's not a lot, obviously, but knowing some Spanish, being able to understand some without having to read subtitles, that's definitely pretty awesome. I also will listen to music a little bit, but I'm not overly big into it because, like, I like the idea of learning with music, but I'm kind of wary of it because just like in American music, we tend to say things differently for the sake of poetic emphasis. And I feel like learning through music could sometimes potentially be bad because you're not necessarily learning how to speak correctly as much as speak rhythmically and to fit a poetic reasoning, if that makes any sense to you. So, but yeah, I would say any kind of thing where I could watch and understand without having to use subtitles or anything like that is definitely a guilty. Oh, also the other thing I did start doing recently, since I am doing Spanish, I've been looking for Spanish vloggers. And I'm not like people who are American who vlog in Spanish, but just like someone who does daily or weekly vlogs that just lives in Mexico or lives in Venezuela. You know what I mean? Anything like that. So that's also a guilty pleasure that I started doing just recently. And that is it. That is the 5 questions from Ophelia. And I really, really like that, man. I really like the idea of that. The guilty language learning tag. So I agree. She said that she thinks that would be a cool thing to have happen. Hopefully people will pick up on that and start doing more, because these are kind of really, really cool questions. It's cool to see this side of language learning just outside of the normal stuff. So I really, really like this. Like I said, if you're watching this on my language learning channel, cool. If you're watching this on my main channel, cool. If you want to follow each of the other channels, links are around my main channel, Jonathan Seabolt. Language learning channel is Langcast, because I do a weekly podcast on there as well. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.